That's what's frustrating. So maybe. Well, especially if it's something from out of state, that they need to understand. This is what we did in Massachusetts. You know. Yeah, you know, oh, well, that would go. Maybe under a different administration.
Maybe all right. Okay, good evening. We're going to go ahead and get started with the City Commission meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Well, good evening, everybody, and we're glad to have you here at the City Commission meeting tonight. We got a lot to get through tonight, so with that, we'll start with roll call.
Benson.
Here.
Brunig.
Here.
Johnson.
Present.
Mybom.
Present.
Minor.
Here.
Schramm.
Here.
Weber.
Here.
Villanueva.
Present.
Mayor Moser.
Here.
City Manager Leon.
Here.
City Attorney Denherter.
Here.
Next, under routine business, is to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of April 24th, 2023, and the work session meeting of April 24th, 2023. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion on either of the minutes? Anybody in the public? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Anybody abstaining? All right, minutes passed. Next on the agenda is the schedule of bills. What is your pleasure?
Move that we pay the bills.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the bills? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Brunig.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Mybom.
Aye.
Minor.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have three very special proclamations tonight. So we'll begin with those. The first one, as you can see in the agenda, is Mental Wellness Conference. So whereas June 7th and 8th, 2023 are the dates when the Yankton Area Mental Wellness Incorporated will host its 25th annual Yankton Regional Mental Wellness Conference in Yankton, South Dakota. And whereas the overall mission is caring for self, caring for community. And the 2023 conference theme is celebrating 25 years of silver linings in mental wellness. And whereas the commitment to training and networking is evident in Yankton, a community that is extremely concerned about serving those in need, strives to educate students for future employment in healthcare and mental health, and represents a region rich in resources and professional expertise to educate others. And whereas Yankton Area Mental Wellness, Inc. and professionals from Yankton, from South Dakota, from the Midwest, and beyond, have joined forces to present a variety of sessions to educate conference participants with current information, available resources, a network of support, regional expertise, and professional credit. Now therefore, I, Stephanie Moser, Mayor of Yankton, do hereby proclaim June 7th and 8th, 2023 as Yankton Area Mental Wellness Conference Days and call upon the residents of this great city to join me in supporting mental wellness awareness. So, yeah, go ahead and give them a hand with that. I believe I'll call the folks forward. I believe Nancy, Dr. Tom, I believe you all are going to be addressing us tonight. You want to, okay.
Senator Hunoff is here to accept the proclamation on our behalf. And as you heard, this is well, I don't know if you said this, but this is the 25th annual Mental Wellness Conference. And the conference this year is dedicated to Senator Hunoff. And Senator Hunoff is truly a silver lining for mental health services, not only in Yankton and this region, but the state. Jean has been the absolute best advocate for our staff, for staff at the Human Services Center, Ability Building Services. I can't speak highly enough for Senator Hunoff and all that she's done for our community, for mental health, for individuals who receive care, and for families. Senator Hunoff, thank you.
Yep. Oh, we're doing it over here now. Now we gotta do that. Where am I walking? Yeah, you guys gotta do that. I was gonna say something. Bailments.
Yeah, my life has been pretty busy as well. You, your youngest graduated this week. The rest of this week, it's gonna be playing catch up. Picture that you put on Facebook. Yeah, Dolores and her brother.
All right, well, thank you, Senator Hunoff. As Dr. Tom said, all of the efforts you do for mental wellness, but I would agree, or would say that all of them that were here tonight are truly silver linings in the mental health and wellness area. So thank you for all you do for our community as well. All right, next is National Police Week. Whereas in 1962, President John F. Kennedy signed the first proclamation recognizing May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day and the week in which it falls as National Police Week. And whereas police officers throughout the city of Yankton work diligently to safeguard the city of Yankton by enforcing laws and keeping our schools, neighborhoods, and families safe, and building community relationships. And whereas our police officers continue to report for duty in the midst of uncertainty, fully aware of the risks that they may have to take to safeguard the public. And whereas we commemorate law enforcement officers, both past and present, who have rendered a dedication to service to the Yankton community, and whereas we reflect on the bravery of our men and women of the Yankton Police Department and express our gratitude for the selfless dedication to upholding the freedoms provided by our Constitution and protecting the lives and property of the citizens of our community. Now, therefore, I, Stephanie Moser, Mayor of Yankton, do hereby proclaim May 14th through the 20th as National Police Week in the city of Yankton. I further call upon all citizens of the city of Yankton to observe Monday, May 15th, 2023, as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those law enforcement officers who, through their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community or have become disabled in performance of duty, and let us recognize and pay respect to the survivors of our fallen heroes. So let's give a round of applause to our police department. I'm going to ask Commander Roethlenberger to just kind of tell us a little bit about how many donuts we expect that week and just all the other good things. I couldn't resist.
I will tell you, first of all, thanks for the proclamation to the City Commission. And I can tell you that at times it's a thankless job, but we know that the community supports us. It's a great community to work in, and we're proud of what we do. So. Officer Adam Goodwillie, a recent graduate from Mount Marty, and Officer Brandon Fry are here tonight too. So thank you.
All right, I know I teased him about the number of donuts coming their way, but I'm so very thankful, and let me give my shout out and appreciation to the police department here in Yankton. We are truly fortunate in our community to have one where I know I go to bed feeling safe at night, and know if I ever need them, they're only a phone call away. So Commander, if you can let your department know how excited we are and happy that you all are here and working so hard to keep our community safe. All right. Did we save the best for last in the proclamation world? We got a special, talk about community citizens. We have a special citizen we want to recognize tonight. Whereas Jerry is a native of Aberdeen, South Dakota, and a graduate of Lake Area Technical College and USD at Springfield, and whereas Jerry joined the WNAX team in September 1976, serving as news director since that time, and whereas Jerry has received numerous awards for his excellence in news coverage, including the South Dakota Broadcasting Hall of Fame Tom Brokaw Award, the South Dakota Association of Healthcare Organization Distinguished Service Award for Media, and the Mitchell V. Charnley Award. And whereas Jerry, at the time of his retirement, has been the last working reporter to interview a sitting South Dakota Democratic governor. I'll keep the jokes aside on your age, Jerry. And whereas Jerry and his wife Cheryl have been married for 45 years and are parents of Ryan, Evan, Colin, and Logan, and grandparents to Darren, Leah, Morgan, Jackson, Reagan, and Cohen. And whereas Jerry has invested in his community through hard work and has served as an outstanding promoter of the Yankton community. Now therefore I, Stephanie Moser, Mayor of the City of Yankton, do hereby proclaim May 8th, 2023 as Jerry Oster Day in Yankton, South Dakota, and call upon the residents of this great city to join me in honoring Jerry.
Okay, if I said I was speechless, you probably wouldn't believe me.
No.
Okay, so I'm not going to go there. I am surprised by the whole thing and very appreciative, humbled. When you work at something, you do your stuff every day and every day. When I came to Yankton, shortly after that, I started attending city commission meetings, among other things. Needless to say, I was always at the side of the room or the back of the room as an observer. That was my job. I saw a lot of stuff over the years. Mostly good, sometimes interesting, sometimes really interesting. But it's been an honor to do that. It's been an honor to be here. I hope I made a difference over these years. That was kind of what you hope for. And, you know, I'm getting close to that. And I think it's appropriate here, being here tonight, because I'm going to have my sine die too coming up here shortly. So, but we'll move on. We're going to stay in Yankton, not going too far. And you may hear from me again, who knows. I'm not going to disappear. I am still a taxpayer. And I got to say, over the years, I've seen a lot of good people come through the commission, citizens that want to serve and want to do the best they can. And I appreciate that. As a journalist, it helps. The interesting stuff helps too. But you guys work hard. We appreciate that. You got a city manager that's a keeper, in my humble opinion. And I've seen a few of those over the years too. So thank you, Amy. Appreciate it. I try not to be too mean to you. So I know. So, but again, thank you. I'm humbled beyond belief and honored. Thank you.
For those that don't know, Amy and I always had the pleasure of visiting with Jerry every other Friday, because we would do the media day the Fridays before the commission meeting, and Jerry was always good about trying to zing us now and then and keeping us on our toes. So I don't know who's going to get that job from now on, but thank you. Randy, okay. But do appreciate you, Jerry, and all the work you've done for our community. You've done amazing work, and you truly have made a difference, and I'm really glad to hear you're sticking around. All right. Does anybody else have a roast or anything they want to say to Jerry before I don't want to rob you of it if there is. Okay. All right. With that then, we'll move along in our routine business, and we'll turn it over to City Manager Leon for the City Manager's report.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor, members of the Commission, and the public. Our mission is to provide exemplary experiences, services, and spaces that create opportunities for everyone to learn, engage, and thrive. Just a few quick bullet points here, since I know you have a lot of business before you. Our work session for May is scheduled for May 22nd. That is on your consent calendar. What we're thinking about for that work session in respect to your time during our budget season is to talk through our outside agency and our BBB budget requests. We think that it's good to separate those from the rest of the budget, because they do sometimes render a lot of discussion, and it also gives you more time to think about them and think through them throughout the whole budget season. So we do have those applications. They are available for you in your SharePoint documents to take a look at. So what you will see then on the 22nd would be my recommendation and your ability to discuss, and we'll know from what you say or what you don't say which direction we need to go. So that is the 22nd. Tomorrow, for the media's benefit, you all know you've been invited to the groundbreaking event at Manitou. It's at 4 o'clock, May 9th. So for anyone that's interested in attending, that is something the public, I believe, is also invited to as well. So that's an exciting new expansion, I guess, of an existing business here in town that we're happy to see thriving. Also, want to thank Commissioner Maibaum for his term here on the City Commission. Commissioner Maibaum served 6 years, 3 years, and then had a year off. I don't know if that's called a bye or what that is, but then came back. He missed us so much, he came back, and much like our friend Mr. Oster, you didn't always ask the easy questions either, but I think in challenging us, you have made us better. So I appreciate your time on the commission and want to thank you on behalf of the staff for helping us be better. That's all I have, Mayor, unless you have questions of me.
Is there anybody that has questions for the city manager? All right, seeing no microphones come on, we will move on to public appearances. This is the time for anybody in the public that wants to appear in front of the City Commission on something not on the agenda tonight. Do I have somebody? All right, if you could step to the podium and give us your name, please, before you address us. We know who you
I'm
are.
Larry Stevens, and I received a letter in the mail from the city of Yankton, abatement letter for trimming trees in my yard.
Sir, I'm going to stop you there.
Okay.
This is on the agenda tonight, so if you could
Oh, it
save it
is?
for when
Okay.
it
I'm
is on the
sorry.
agenda. No, you're okay, not a problem. That's what we're here for. That way you don't have to repeat it twice. Okay, I'll get to you. If I forget, just throw something at me or something. All right. Anybody else in the public want to address the commission on something not on the agenda tonight? All right. Seeing no movement, then we will move on to the consent agenda. Number one is setting the date of May 22, 2023 at 6 p.m. here in the Commission chambers for the next work session of the Yankton City Commission, discussing outside agency and BBB requests as talked about just previously by the city manager. Number two is consideration of memorandum 23-79, recommending approval of the application from Rock and Rumble doing business as Third on Third for a special events dance license for July 3rd, 2023. And number three is to establish May 22, 2023 as the date for the public hearing on the request for a special events on sale liquor license for July 22nd, 2023 from Rock and Rumble Inc. Mike Sarda, president, doing business as Rock and Rumble, 3rd Street from Douglas. and intersecting on Capitol Street here in downtown Yankton. What is your pleasure?
Move to approve consent items.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Anybody abstaining? All right. Moving on to old business then. Number 1 is consideration of memorandum 23-81 regarding the renewal of malt beverage licenses for the 2023-2024 licensing period. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion? Anybody in the public want to address the commission? Roll call.
Johnson.
Aye.
Mybom.
Aye.
Minor.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Brunig.
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye, motion carries. Number 2 under old business is consideration of memorandum 23-77 regarding the request for a special events retail on-sale liquor license for one day, May 13th, 2023, from Hillcrest Golf and Country Club, Rob Ness, President. That is at 2206 Mulberry Street for the Meridian venue located at 101 East 3rd Street. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Mybom.
Aye.
Minor.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Brunig.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye, motion carries. Number 3 under old business is consideration of memorandum 23-78 regarding the request for a transfer of ownership of a retail on-off sale malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine license for July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023 from Allison Gullickson doing business as Happy Hours to ABG Ventures LLC, Allison Gullickson owner, 311 Douglas. What is your pleasure? So moved. Second. We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Minor.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Brunig.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Mybom.
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye, motion carries. Number 4 under old business is consideration of memorandum 23-76 regarding the public hearing on and requesting approval of resolution 23-11, the 2023 assessment roll nuisance abatement roll summary. This is for 20 properties as shared in the commission packet in the amount of $5,426.19. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Is there commission discussion? All right, you're up. Come on up. I was just going to ask if there's anybody in the public that wants to address us. So your turn.
Hi, I'm Larry Stevens, and I received a letter in the mail from the city of Yankton for trimming trees on 9th Street. And it looked like the trees were trimmed in February of '22. And I just purchased the property in August of '22. And you'd think that'd be 6 months there for the previous owner to get notified and collected of the fee.
Dave, would you like to address how the assessments work? I'm not really sure in the case of a purchase of a property.
Sure, and I'll ask the city attorney to jump in here as needed, but special assessments of any kind, including nuisance abatement, are tied to the property, the legal description, the platted or described lots, and they go through a process that can take, in some instances, a year or more. So it functions the same way as a street assessment, where the assessment travels with the property as it changes hands. There isn't a tool in the toolbox in state law for us to track previous owners who may or may not have been involved in a former violation in an assessment role. It's tied to the property.
And he is correct. It is essentially a lien against the property. The only way, however, that a buyer can learn if there's an assessment like in the works is through extended coverage when you buy title insurance, which everybody pretty much waives. So fortunately, it wasn't an enormous amount of money, but I understand very clearly why this would be upsetting to discover now when you bought it back in August. But it's the system that we have. These are just slow to make their way through the process. So
Yeah, the property didn't show any liens when I purchased it.
Right. Yeah, there's an exception to your title insurance coverage that covers liens that haven't yet made it to the chain of title. If you get the extended coverage, you end up doing a lot more deep diving into the potential liens that aren't yet ripe, and you end up paying a lot more for that coverage. But that's really the only tool in the toolbox to discover this kind of thing. So
14 months after the tree was trimmed,
Yep.
I'm getting a letter in the mail. I mean,
Yes. Yeah.
I understand that some notices were given to the previous owner, and he didn't do anything about it.
Right.
So you're going to punish me for his neglect?
We're simply asserting the lien against the property where the work was performed, because that's the tool, the remedy that the law affords to the city to recoup its expenses. It's just unfortunate that you got caught up in this specific instance of where it.
Yeah, the previous owner just moved down the street. I could give him his address, phone number, anything you need. He's the one that neglected to do what you asked him to.
We can have a conversation if you'd like after the meeting's over. I'm happy to discuss some options for you.
Okay, so I
Did
guess
the
just sell the
owner,
property and,
did the previous owner provide you with a seller's disclosure statement?
absolutely.
And was that item disclosed in the seller's disclosure
No,
statement?
it was not.
Okay.
I talked to him, he has no knowledge of any tree trimming happenings or warnings, or he said he was unaware of it.
But notices were provided by the city to that person. So
If this is for the property owner, how come it's specifically to me, my name?
Because you acquired it as of August, as you said, and it ties back to the property. But he is talking specifically about an obligation that a seller has when property is sold. So I will talk to you about some remedies that the law affords. We just need to move on with the meeting. I mean,
Oh,
yeah.
okay, sorry, thanks
No,
for
that's
your
okay,
time.
but I'm happy to have a conversation with you about it.
Is there anybody else in the public that wants to address the commission? Roll call.
Schramm.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Brunig.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Mybom.
Aye.
Minor.
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye, motion carries. Number 5 under old business is a second reading and public hearing to consider ordinance 1072, amendments to the City of Yankton zoning ordinance number 711. The proposed amendments would change the parking yard and open space requirements for multiple family dwellings in a B3 central business district. And Dave is appropriately at the mic. So Dave, would you please walk the commission through what's being requested tonight before I ask them what their pleasure is?
Sure. This is specific only to the B3 Central Business District, so there's a map at the end of the agenda item. It's kind of that pink-violet colored area that we're talking about. It's specific to that only. One of the things that we talked a lot about through the Design South Dakota process and in other planning efforts was trying to promote housing occupancies in the downtown as a way of being an economic generator for that area of the community also. And one of the things that staff has looked at through the years is the disconnect in some of our older ordinance language and how it discusses housing development downtown at higher densities as opposed to how it discusses them in the periphery areas on the north end of town. Obviously in the outskirts of town, on the northern ends, the developing areas of town, there's a more modern design standard expected with yards and and other outdoor spaces and on-site parking. In the downtown, it simply isn't a fit because we have areas where buildings are built lot line to lot line. And in reviewing the ordinances, staff found some fairly low-hanging fruit as far as easy ordinance amendments that could occur that would remove that disconnect for higher density housing downtown. And Ordinance 1072 represents those two small changes which can make a big difference in downtown housing development. So what it does is it removes the yard space requirement, which just like a lot of the rest of the downtown, there isn't areas for yards. And then it also provides for a no parking requirement unless it reaches a certain threshold. And then when a development would get to a certain size, then parking would be required thereafter. The reality is that any private developer that's considering multi-million-dollar investment in housing downtown, they would almost be forced to offer off-street, on-site parking as an amenity, or they're not going to be market competitive. So with a couple of fairly simple changes in the ordinance, I think staff is confident, and the Planning Commission recommended approval of proposed ordinance 1072.
Are there questions from the City Commission specifically to it? If not, I would ask, what is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and now that we do, I'll ask again, does anybody on the City Commission have a question? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Weber.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Brunig.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Mybom.
Aye.
Minor.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to other business on our agenda. There is no other business in front of the City Commission tonight, so I would ask for a motion to adjourn and sign die.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay, and anybody abstaining. All right, we're adjourned.
In the absence of a mayor, I'll call the meeting to order. I see Commissioner Mybom is shaking some hands. Tony, would you like to address the commission in any way? Or okay, we got thumbs up, so thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Okay, we start out by administering the oath to our newly elected and re-elected city commissioners. So Stephanie Moser, Ben Brunick, and Brian Hunhoff, if you could join Ross up front here, he will administer the oath.
Let me start by asking, how do you guys want to take pictures for your, I never know quite how or where to stand so that you guys get the shot that you want, but I'm willing to let you boss us around for a change. Over our shoulder? Okay, that sounds good.
I'm used to being a sports photographer, so I get what I did. I take what I get, yeah.
Action shot. Okay. So I'd ask all three of you to raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Having been duly elected to the office of Commissioner of the City of Yankton, South Dakota, do hereby swear that I will support the Constitution of the State of South Dakota and faithfully discharge the duties of my office as City Commissioner. Congratulations, Commissioners.
Okay, congratulations, everybody. For the time being, we will have everyone take an empty seat, and I will ask Al for a roll call of our 2023 City Commission.
Benson.
Here.
Brunig.
Here.
Hunoff.
Here.
Johnson.
Present.
Minor.
Here.
Schramm.
Here.
Villanueva.
Present.
Weber.
Here.
Moser.
Here.
City Manager Leon.
Here.
City Attorney Denherder.
Here.
Okay, thank you very much. Our next order of business is to select a mayor for the 2023 and 2024 term. So with that, I will ask the seated commissioners if there's any nominations for mayor.
I nominate Stephanie Moser.
I'll second that.
There is a motion and a second for Stephanie Moser to serve as mayor for the 2023-24 term. Any other nominations? I'm hearing none. So do you need to do a roll call, Al, or would you let?
Usually what we do is just do a motion to have that nomination cease and a unanimous ballot be cast.
Okay. Do you need?
I can make that motion as well.
Second.
Okay. So I have a motion and a second that the nomination cease and a unanimous ballot be cast for Stephanie Moser to serve as mayor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, congratulations, Mayor Moser.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Al, can you write me down as abstaining? I know she didn't ask for that, but
I'm
I did
sorry.
abstain my vote. Yeah, so I just want to make clear on that. And thank you to the City Commission for this honor of serving another year. It is a pleasure to work with all of you, and you sure make this job a lot easier. So I look forward to this next year, and thank you for your confidence in serving in this role again. So with that, then, we will move on to new business. Number one is consideration of Memorandum 23-74 regarding Resolution 23-17, the creation of a tax incremental district number 13 to be located on the following described property. The extent of that address is in the commission packet. The short address is 305 East 2nd Street. The stencil group is applicant, and before I ask the commission what their pleasure is, I'm going to ask Dave to walk us through this.
Sure. Tax increment district number 13 is already defined by the Department of Revenue as being eligible for the creation of a housing tax increment district. As you may remember, there's two different types of district definitions or designations. One's economic development, one is housing. If you're looking through your plan, you'll see it says economic development in one place. We're going to correct that before we get everything signed off on. But what the proposal is Stencil Group is proposing downtown east of the Gurney Building, a 104-unit project that meets the state's rent criteria. And it would be studio apartments, one-bedroom and two-bedroom apartments, and I'll let the developer fill in more information about that. But from a tax increment district standpoint, the key is that it's performance-based, so the city would not be responsible for any of the funding whatsoever. Essentially, it's the developer paying in property taxes over time and being eligible to receive property taxes back. That's what's defined as the increment, up to a specific amount, which in this case is $2,304,738 of a project that, as of this afternoon, I heard is a little over 18 million. At the time of this writing, it was in the 16.4 range. So, and that payout could occur up to 20 years. If for some reason the district didn't perform at a level that would pay that increment out, the city would not be responsible, be held harmless from making up any of that payment. So the developer's essentially taking the risk in this instance on this performance-based tax increment district. So the Planning Commission earlier this evening held their public hearing regarding the issue. and recommended approval of it. Staff recommends approval also. We have Toby Morris from Colliers here who prepared the document that's available to answer more technical questions if you have them, and we also have the developer here to answer questions for you.
Great, thanks for that, Dave. Questions from the commission?
I appreciate if the developers paint the picture of what they're planning for this project
Absolutely.
and the timeline for construction.
If you could give us your name first before you start talking,
Good
thank
evening.
you.
Nathan Stencil Group, 5700 Josh Wyatt Drive, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Good evening, Mayor and Commission, and congratulations on the reelection. So what I guess we've spent some time over the last 6-8 months looking around Yankton for a site that we thought would be a good fit for a multifamily project. Ultimately ended up down on the Gurney site that we're considering this evening, which we thought was an amazing opportunity to work in the downtown zone, looking at the long-term redevelopment plan of the area. We feel like this will be a great catalyst to kick off kind of the Meridian District and will really spur a lot of future development in the area. So we're proposing to do what I would say is a higher end, higher quality multifamily project. It's 104 units made up of studios, 1-beds, and 2-beds, 2-bed units. It has underground parking, which will be kind of half subgrade. So we're only going about, say, 8 feet into the ground, and then that way the first level units will be elevated just slightly, so then we can have hanging metal patios and create a more secure environment for the first level. The building, like I said, is 4 stories. It has a sky deck overlooking the river and the park across the street, which is an exciting amenity with the park we're really excited about. Has a dog park, a small playground area, surface parking outside as well as the parking underneath. It has a flat roof and it's a higher end, so it's mostly comprised of metal and brick on the exterior to kind of complement the downtown zone. As Dave stated, the project's about $18.2 million. The rough timeline, if all goes well this evening, the project really does need this tax increment finance to be financially feasible. Without it, it really is not a feasible project. But if all goes well, our goal is to start construction this July, and then the building would open in the fall of 2024. So if you have any additional questions, happy to answer them.
And are the renderings in our packet, what you're proposing, is that pretty close to what it's going to look like?
Yeah, so the kind of what I would say the more two-dimensional ones are specifically this actual building. The fancier rendering is one that we're currently building in Hastings, Minnesota, that it's based off of. So it just gives you a better picture. We didn't have time to get a full rendering of it, but those are the materials, and that's an actual rendering of an actual building that's being built right now.
Other questions? Mr. Stencil, while he's up at the microphone. I think you're good then.
Yeah, it looks like a great project,
Yes.
something that I think a lot of us have thought would be a perfect fit for downtown Yankton, but has never come along. So to have this on the riverfront, adding 104 units, which is hundreds of people in the downtown to shop, live down there, I think it'll be kind of a game changer for the community. So very excited about it.
We hope so. We're very excited.
It's a great location for it, right, with the river views, and yeah, I'm even tempted to check it out.
You should. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Toby, why don't you step on up to the mic? And I know we've had you here many times, Mr. Morris, but walk us through. I know people get a little nervous when we keep maybe potentially adding TIDs or looking at things like that. What exactly is being proposed here, where the city sits with how many we have, and I'm assuming since you wrote this that you're suggesting that we follow it. Your thoughts on that?
Correct. Thanks, Mayor. Toby Morris with Collier Securities. Having worked on a lot of TIFs, a lot of them here as well as in Yankton, I would say, as my professional opinion, you've always been very conservative with how you've approached TIFs, and they've really been successful in the past. I know just in the last 2 years working with Thrive and what their developments are going forth. What's interesting to see, though, is statewide, between the inflation, between the rise in interest rates, to see a project like this coming through. And I don't know if you'd want to say it's a blighted area, but it's definitely an area that is in need of help to help transform the downtown. You know, we've seen examples like this in Watertown where a newer building has come and brought in a vibrant life. So I would say, you know, from a technical standpoint, we have you covered in terms of it's an annual appropriation, so it's not constitutional debt, so we don't have to worry about that. As David said, it's performance-based. We'll have a developer agreement where they take on 100% of the liability. You know, again, you know, I'd never have you liable for anything on that side. So it's exciting. You go through your housing study. It definitely just demonstrates the need of what you have in this community to continue on from the workforce side to your overall side. And just you look at the vacancy and the age of the other units in this town, I think it's going to be an extreme compliment to the community, and it's exciting to see it go forward.
Awesome. Thank you for walking through that again. Any other questions from the commissioners for either Dave, Mr. Stencil, or Mr. Morris? If not, I would ask, what's the pleasure of the commission?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, so I will again ask, is there any comments or questions from the commission?
Yes, you know, I work in this environment day in and day out, and the number of people who are struggling to find a place to live is staggering. It's not just, I mean, it's a crisis is what we've called it, and it's true. And so 105 units, 104 units it will make an impact. It's not going to solve the problem, it's going to make an impact. And so this is exciting for our community as a whole. So thank you guys for wanting to do this.
Any other comments, questions?
I've got a quick one.
Yep.
Dave, if you could just kind of explain the, there are some caps as far as, because it's a tax incremental district, right? Can you kind of explain how that works?
Sure. The Department of Revenue establishes those on a county-by-county basis, and Toby maybe can help me. I think they're reviewed annually and adjusted or periodically as far as the Department of Revenue's record keeping is concerned. So yeah, they'll be rent capped for at least the first 5 years of its existence. That's how the Department of Revenue requires that criteria to be met. So there's a different rent for a studio apartment, a different number for a 1-bedroom, different number for 2 bedrooms or three bedrooms. So they will be rent capped. And same thing if there were going to be units for sale, like in Westbrook Estates, if you might remember when we approved that, they had maximum sale prices associated with them, and that number is determined by the state, also by the Department of Revenue.
Nancy, were you? Yeah, perfect.
Nancy Winandy, Yankton Thrive, business address 803 East 4th Street. I just wanted to speak in support of utilization of TIFs for housing and economic development. There's not a lot of tools that we have here in South Dakota to create incentives and create projects that have housing at a level that our community needs. As Toby had very eloquently stated, we need a lot of different types of housing here in Yankton. So we still need some workforce housing. We still need some of that mid-level housing and that higher end housing. And this is a great complementary project to a lot of other projects that are being discussed in the community. So I'd like to thank them for investing in Yankton and adding this to our housing stock.
Thanks, Nancy. Anybody else? Roll call.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Brunig.
Aye.
Hunoff.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Minor.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye. Motion carries. Welcome to Yankton Stencil Group. I just echo what everybody else here says to critical need for housing in Yankton, and thank you for partnering with us to help rectify some of that. I'm excited to see the project start. All right, I bet. All right. All right, number 2 under new business is consideration of memorandum 23-75, establishing May 22nd, 2023 as the date for a public hearing to consider the vacation of west 7 feet of Dakota Street right-of-way at 1201 Dakota Street. Steve and Lori Drotzman, owners. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Weber.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Brunig.
Aye.
Hunoff.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Minor.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye, motion carries. Number 3 under new business is consideration of memorandum 23-80 regarding the SAC rental rate structure for 2025 and no rental dates for holidays starting July 1st, 2023. And with that, I will turn it over to City Manager Leone to walk us through understanding why we're looking at 2025 already and what's being proposed.
Certainly. Just got to get to the right packet item here. So you have in your attachment the schedule of charges for the summit activities, rental rates for 2025. Those would be come effective July 1, 2025. The reason why we look ahead is we've worked with the school to talk about this over several years. And as you know, people plan their large events, concerts, dance recitals, musicals, all that fun stuff far out in advance. So we want to not only just be able to be clear what our rates are, but also what our rates are going to be. So people are aware when we make the rate changes, what to expect. So when they call to book something for 2024, 2025, we can give them the projected rate. So these have already been considered by the Yankton School District. There's approximate increase of 3%. That's what we've done regularly. A change this year is some dates that the facilities won't be available to rent. So there are some dates which are holidays for school employees that would not be available. We're making those known ahead of time. So you can see there, I think that's highlighted in sort of a peach or pink color there in your packet, that the holidays that would not be available for rentals. And that's really to respect the staff, but also to consider the fact that the staff needs not just, it's difficult to get staff to work those, but they also need some time with their families as well on those. So we feel that it's fair, we meaning the city and the staff and the school staff, that we are able to make some of those dates unavailable for renting those facilities. So if you have any questions about that, we can certainly answer them, or with the rates themselves. So I don't necessarily need to go into each space and each rental rate unless you'd like me to, Mayor, but basically a 3% increase, and this has been through approval with the Yankton School District.
Perfect. Thanks for walking us through that. With that, unless there are clarification questions, what is the pleasure of the commission?
So moved.
Second. We do have a motion and a second. Is there any commission discussion on that? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Benson.
Aye.
Brunig.
Aye.
Hunoff.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Minor.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye, motion carries. Number 4 under new business is consideration of memorandum 23-82, recommending that the city commission award the North Hangar taxi lanes, access road, and runway 20 end turnaround project to Double H Paving, Inc. for $1,470,353.85, and authorize the city manager to execute all contract, grant, and engineering consultant documents associated with the project. Said recommendation is contingent upon Federal Aviation Administration grant approval. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Second.
We do have a motion and a second. Any commission discussion? Anybody in the public? Roll call.
Brunig.
Aye.
Hanoff.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Minor.
Aye.
Schramm.
Aye.
Villanueva.
Aye.
Weber.
Aye.
Benson.
Aye.
Mayor Moser.
Aye, motion carries. That concludes new business on the agenda, so we move on to other business. And there is no, oh, we do have some other business. Absolutely. Are you addressing us as as County Commissioner Clemish?
Dan Clemish. I'd just like to say to the City Commission, congratulations to Commissioner Moser, Commissioner Brunick, and Commissioner Hanoff for your guys' victory. I look forward to the continued strong relationship between the city and the county. It's a pleasure working with you guys.
All right. Well, thanks for coming tonight and for those words. We look forward to working with our friends at the county as well and continuing our good works. All right. With that, there is no other business in front of the City Commission tonight, so I would ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting of May 8th.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. And anybody abstaining? Meeting adjourned. Have a good night, everybody.
You missed me on the library?